My name is Mickey, and as you know, my co-host is Zach, and today we'll be doing the My Event Runner webinar. And now I'm actually, there's a fair bit of ground to cover today, so I'm actually going to jump right into it. I can see a couple people just kind of coming in, but that's okay. We're going to get started, okay? And so we're going to start right from the beginning, okay? So my name is Mickey. Today's webinar is My Event Runner. So let's begin. I wanted to talk about the difference first between, first of all, you have a club website. How do you handle events? And what is the difference between, there's two primary event packages, Event Planner and My Event Runner. So let's just go over that. Now I've logged in to the club website already, and I'm logged into the administration page, right? So what I'm going to do is, let's just go right to events. To navigate around the website, I just use the top blue tabs, my club runner, communication, so forth. I'm going to click here on events, and I'm going to click on Event Planner first. This webinar is not about Event Planner, but I wanted to talk about Event Planner. So what is Event Planner? What we won't be discussing today is Event Planner. So this is Event Planner. Event Planner is generally for simple events that have one price. Um, so that's about all I'd like to say about Event Planner, because just for the sake of time. But you can absolutely use Event Planner for your events where, let's say it's, I don't know, a barbecue or something like that. It's $30 at the door, nothing complicated. So Event Planner is still completely valid if you need it to use for your club or district events. We are today going to be covering My Event Runner. Okay, so I'm going to click here on My Event Runner. Let's get started. So if Event Planner is the simple software where you have one price point and it's, relatively straightforward, My Event Runner, which we're in right now, is the more complex and kind of multi-tiered system. So My Event Runner can do multiple price points, can do, let's say you're selling t-shirts, it can do, well, actually we're going to get into what it can all do, but it's the more complex and event software for your club or district. Okay. Now, as you can see, that there's a there was a summer barbecue event that's being created right now, and it's in draft mode. We're not going to use this. I just want you to know that My Event Runner, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, My Event Runner allows you to make multiple events. Um, at the high end of the spectrum, there are some districts that use My Event Runner to manage their district conferences. So that's kind of, I guess, an extreme example. My Event Runner can handle quite a bit of information. We're going to kind of go in the middle. We're not going to create a super simple event, but we're also not going to go too complicated today. Okay, today we're going to be creating an event for a Rotary Dinner Gala that our club is hosting. It's going to be in August, and we're really excited. It's actually our big event of the year. I'm logged in to a fictitious Rotary Club, so everything you'll be seeing today, it's all fake data. Okay, so this is My Event Runner. And you know what? I'm just going to rewind a sec because I want to make sure that you can access My Event Runner. I'm going to click here on the admin page. I'm going to go back to the administration page just to make sure that you know how to get in here, because I do see the participants have gone up a little since I was talking. So to get into My Event Runner, I'm going to hover over events, and I'll just click on events. Okay. And then I'm going to click this gray button, My Event Runner. Okay. So that's going to take me to My Event Runner. Now, your club or district website may or may not have My Event Runner. Just something to note, okay? A few things. All right, first of all, and by the way, this is my notepad file. I'm going in a kind of a process to try to slow the pacing down. I'm going to be typing manually today live, so you get to see me type. So who gets access to My Event Runner? So first off the bat, club or district, right? They need first of all, to have My Event Runner activated or active on your website, on your club or district level site, you need a payment provider. Okay, so in the US, that is Bambora. sorry, in the US, that's Sage. Okay. So Sage is just one of our payment provider options. In Canada, it's Bambora. Okay. And then international is typically PayPal. So what does that mean? This is why. And by the way, this is on purpose. I want to type today so that I can slow things down a little bit. You can kind of see what I'm trying to say. So in the US is Sage, Canada's Bambora, international is PayPal. What I mean by that is before you even get access to, I'm going to call this MER. Okay, so I'm going to call MyEventRunner MER just for the sake of brevity. For MER to be actually activated in your club or district site, you need to have a payment provider first. So your club or district needs to sign up to, for example, Sage in the USA, and you have to get an account, and it has to be activated and turned on. As you turn your Sage account on, it will also turn MyEventRunner on your website. So, and the same for Bambora. In Canada, you need Bambora. International, you need PayPal. Okay. So if your club or district site has the MyEventRunner button grayed out, let me just go back here. I'll click on admin. Okay. So if I were to click on events, but then I wasn't able to click on MyEventRunner because it's grayed out, it has to come back to this. You need a payment provider first before any of this works. Okay. So that's kind of the first level. The second point, so your club or district has already got Sage or Bambora or whatever, so you're good to go. So that's fine. This is now active. But now let's say, you know what? I know for a fact my club has Sage or Bambora or whatever, but MyEventRunner is still grayed out. So there's a kind of a second level. You need an access level of 50, okay, at the club level. And then I'm at the district, you need a special event access. I'm not going to cover district too much, but just because your club or district has, Bambora or Sage, you yourself as the individual member, you need a special access level in order to use this. Not MyEventRunner isn't open to your entire club. Not every member of your club can go in and create all these complex events. They're kind of reserved for usually the club board, executives, so forth, administrators. So you need a special access level in order to access MyEventRunner, right? So before we even begin any of this, it's just important to kind of note that you'll need this information. Okay, so I'm going to click on MyEventRunner now. This club that I'm set up with, it has Sage. Let's just pretend we're in the USA, even though we're in Canada. And then I'm a website administrator. I have the highest access level on a club site, so I'm totally fine. Okay, so I'm ready to make a new event. So I'm going to click here on New Event. Okay. And let's begin, and we'll try to cover as much ground as we can today, while at the same time, I want to make sure I leave Zach some time at the end. Okay, so this is what you'll see every time you create a new event in MyEventRunner. Okay, so the very first option you're going to choose is, do you want Pro or do you want Light? So MyEventRunner comes in two flavors, okay, Pro versus Light. So, and we're going to create a Pro event today so we can see all the features. MyEventRunner Lite, which says limited features, it turns off some of the advanced features. So in other words, if you have a smaller event, an event that doesn't need all the functionality of Pro, you would choose Lite. And then MyEventRunner Pro has all the features turned on right out of the box. In certain cases, you might be unsure. Well, I'm not sure. Should I go with Lite? So the big thing between Pro and Lite is the cost. There is a $1 per registration cost. Okay, let me just make a note of that. Okay, so MER Pro has a $1 per registration charge. Okay, so that's not $1 per person, because a husband and wife and their kids could be coming. That's all still one registration. It's $1 per registration. Okay, and Lite does not have this cost. Okay, so this may be worth it because you have a complicated multi-tiered event with lots of price points and lots of people coming. So if you have a complicated event, just start in My Event Runner Pro. Now, if you're not certain if you should use light or pro, if you choose light and then find out later on, you know what, I do need all the features that pro offers, you can upgrade. In other words, in the middle of creating the event, you can move from light up to pro. So you can start creating your event in light and then maybe halfway through figure out I actually need the features of pro and then upgrade to pro. You can't go down. So if you start in pro, you can't go down to light. So depending on the complexity of the event, you can start with light and then see what features, we're going to go over all these features today. See if you find out, I need this feature, that feature, I actually do need pro. So I'll upgrade to pro. And as soon as you upgrade to pro, there will be an extra $1 per registration charge that that will be that Club Runner will charge you. Okay. So I'm just going to start with pro. All right. And then let's just begin with the event name. So we're going to create today a Rotary Gala dinner. Okay. Let me spell dinner right. Okay. So let me just describe the event to you. There's going to be Rotarians bringing their spouses, husbands, wives, so forth. And then, you know what, we're going to allow non-Rotarians also to register, like people who are not members of our club, but who are still members of the community. They're going to come. This is, like I said, this is one of our biggest events of the year for this club. Okay, so that's the event in a nutshell. We'll get into the specifics. Okay, so I put in the event name, the Rotary Gala Dinner. So the next thing that asks us for is a code. Okay, so remember that you have to set up, in order to set up My Event Runner, you'll need Bambora or Sage or so forth. So some of this information, especially this coding information, it gets sent to Sage or Bambora. So as an example, this code, this is the overall event code, and it will actually get sent to Sage. And when you're looking inside the reports for Sage, Sage is your online payment option. It actually has its own interface completely separate from Club Runner. And you can actually see, well, let's break down these events by code, and you can actually see the event code. So you're sending not only transaction information from My Event Runner, you're also sending the code. So I don't want this C13, that does, to me, that doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a different code. Now for the code, I'm not going to use any spaces, just so you know. So this is going to be, Gala dinner. I'm 2 years behind here. This is going to be Gala Dinner 2021. Let me make sure that this denotes 2021. So this is the event name. This is what everybody will see. This is the event code. This is what Sage is going to see. Okay. So I'm going to keep scrolling down. All right. And let's move on to currency. Like I said, we're going to keep things, just for the sake of simplicity today, just US dollars. Okay. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to choose the top option, which is US dollars. We do support other types of currency, but I'm just going to choose US dollar today. Okay. And same thing, language, you can have a different language option in My Event Runner. I'm just going to choose English. So let's move on to the start and end times. Okay, so when is this event? Let's start inputting that. So when does the event start? I'm actually going to click here on the calendar. Okay, oh, there it is. Sorry, there we go. All right, that's new, pardon me. So I'm going to click on the calendar. There we go. All right. And I'm going to click the forward arrow. This is the month of July. This event is going to start on Sunday, August 1st. Okay. Just to keep things simple. All right. So, and then the same, when does the event end? Well, it's the same night. It's not, so I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to Sunday, August 1st. So when does the event start? You know what? We want people to start showing up at, let's say 5:00 p.m. So let's say the event begins at 5. We might have like a little cocktail reception, all that. And the event will end at 11 p.m. Okay. So that's the event itself. What is the start and end date? Let's talk about enable form. Okay, when do you want this My Event Runner registration form enabled? Because you don't want it enabled on the night of the event. So I want the enable form. I want it to be enabled now, right away. So I'm going to click on my calendar. I'm going to choose today's date. Okay. And I'm just going to put in 9 a.m. Okay. So what this means is as soon as I click save and I enable and activate all this stuff, the form is just going to start right away. Now I could choose to enable the form next week, right? Like you can choose to enable the form whenever you'd like, but I want this turned on right away. And then disable form is also very important. So I'm just going to disable the form. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable the form the day before. The event is August 1st. On Saturday, July 31st at 11:59 p.m., the form stops taking registration. So I want registrations right up until the morning of the event. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down and let's get to this next section. Okay, there's all these options here. So let me cover some of these options. So allow Club Runner member login. What this means is, do you want your members to log in? This is important to note. You don't have to check this box. You don't have to require or need members to log in. Even if I check this box and I allow members to log in, members can still register without knowing their login information. My Event Runner is kind of open to everyone, to all registrants by default. So if you uncheck this, right, that means the member will not input their login name and password. And that's okay. MER will still accept their registration. I'm going to turn this on so you can see what it looks like. And then when you do your event, you may decide, I'm just going to turn this off and allow anybody to register, okay? Because their login info is not required. Okay, allow duplicate registrations. I'm going to turn that off. Let's say I sign up for a dinner and then, you know what, I'm going to sign up again and again and again. That's essentially what duplicate registrations means, is one person can continue to sign up multiple times. I don't want that to happen. In this case, you may decide at some point you want that to be turned on. Allow user to edit registration. I sign up and then, you know what, a week later, I decide, oh, I'm going to bring 5 more guests, or I'm going to choose 5 more options. I also don't want that to happen. I want people to basically choose what they want and then save and pay, and that's it. Like I said, we're going to try and keep things relatively simple today. Okay, so I'm not going to check this. Publish registers attendees list. Do you want to make the list? Do you want the person registering to know who else is registering? I'm not going to choose that, so I'm going to uncheck it. Tax inclusive prices, unchecked. I don't want to worry about taxes today. These next 4 or 5 are interesting. Show on calendar, events, homepage bulletin, and district calendar. I'm going to turn this off. I'm not going to check these options for now. I just started creating this event. I don't want anything displayed halfway through, or, you know, I'm in the middle of still testing. So I'm going to turn all this off. That kind of ensures that only myself and other website admins and people with the correct access level can see this event. No one else can see it as long as I don't turn on any of these options. Okay, so let me scroll down to this section that says options for pro events only. So the number of registrants, I mentioned kind of at the beginning of this webinar, we're going to do double. So why? Rotarians are coming and they're going to bring their spouses. Okay, so I want to make sure that a Rotarian can register themselves and also their husband, wife, partner, so forth. So I'm going to keep the number of registrants double. If you made it single, it's just a one person, you know, registers. That doesn't mean that the registration is only open to one person. It just means that during the sign up phase, they'll have a registration screen that takes in information for one person. We're going to get there. That may or may not have made sense to you, especially if you're new to MER. I'm going to click on double. It'll make a little bit more sense when we actually go through the registration process. But I'm going to choose double because I want husbands to, you know, bring their wives and so forth. Okay, separate group for guest. What this means is you can create a separate pricing option for guests. For today, like I said, I'm going to try to keep things relatively simple. I'm not going to check this. but you can check it if, for example, guests cost extra or different or what have you. I'm not going to choose that for today. Okay. And then hide all pricing and payment labels. Those are for events where you don't want people to see the pricing. Once again, not going to check that. Payable by check. Yes, I want people to pay by check. So I'm going to just fill in this information really fast. I'm not going to put in an address, but if you want people to register and they're bringing their husbands and wives and so forth, um, then you want the check payable and you have to put in the address and all that stuff, right? So so I'm not going to do any of that. It's just that you make the check payable. When they come to the end of the registration and they input the payment, they can choose check as one of the options for payment. Okay, and we'll see that as we move forward. So let me scroll down. Okay, I'll go all the way to the bottom and I want to click save. All right. So this is just the first screen. This just means that, okay, now we're ready to kind of get the ball rolling and kind of input all these options. This was essentially the minimum options we need to create this event. So what I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to scroll down now. Now, the way that you navigate around My Event Runner is you use this left sidebar. Okay, there's all kinds of options here. I want to move a little bit slowly first through these. Okay, and we'll definitely get to reports and communication and all that. But I want to talk first about the form designer. What this form designer section means is how are you designing all your forms, your packages, your add-ons. We're going to talk about what that means in a second. But I'm just going to go through and we're going to move through each one. So header, okay, what the header is what displays up top in your event. By default, the header is blank. In other words, the top of your event, it's kind of empty. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Okay, you can choose to input images for the sake of brevity today. I'm not going to, but you can choose to do that. I'm going to keep things relatively simple. The content button is what I want here. So I'm going to click here and it's going to pop open a box. Let me scroll down a bit for you. Okay. I'm going to make this very, very simple. Rotary Dinner Gala 2021. Okay, I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to make it bold. Let's center it. Okay. Let's make it bigger. Actually here. So what I'll do is this. I'm going to put in the date because the dinner is August 1st, 2021. Okay. So this, I don't want to make it bold. Okay, so we'll go like this, and I'll just make this 28. Okay, I'm going to click save, and that's it for the header. And we're going to keep moving on. There's a couple more. We haven't added a background image, but like I said, I want to make sure we respect the time as much as possible, while at the same time not going too quickly today because I want to make sure all these points are covered. Okay, so that's my header. You can absolutely make this fancier, but we're not going to today. I want to talk about attendee groups. So I'm going to click here on attendee groups. It's the next section after header is attendee groups. Sorry, I scrolled down a little quickly. So attendee groups, think of them as your registrant categories. You can have, for example, you can have adults, you can have 65 plus, you can have a special attendee group for children, right? Kids under 12, eat free, whatever. So these are the attendee groups. They're what type of people are registering, okay? Once again, to make things relatively straightforward and so you can see how this works, I'm only going to add 2 groups, okay? So the first thing is I'm going to edit this group. This is called all attendees. By default, you start with 1 attendee group. It just covers everybody. Everybody falls into this category of all attendees. So I'm going to change this, okay? So I'm going to click here in the actions, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to change all attendees to Rotarians. So you might know where I'm going with this. And I have 2 attendee groups, Rotarians and non-Rotarians, and that's it. And you can have more, you can have kids, you can have seniors, all that stuff, but I just want Rotarians and non-Rotarians, okay? So that's the group name, right? I typed in Rotarians here in the group name. Remember the codes? Remember how I said they will go to Sage and so forth? I have to change the code because this is no longer applies. So well, like I said, let's not make the codes complicated. Rotarian, there you go. There's my code, right? So the code, and you're going to see how this kind of comes into play in a bit, but just bear with me for a second. We're going to make the codes Rotarian, and I'm going to click save. And I've edited my first attendee group. I'm going to click add group again because I want to add a second attendee group. Okay, so the group name for this will obviously be non-Rotarians. Okay, and the code will be non-Rotarian. Now, this is important. I'm not putting a space, okay? I'm just putting in place of a space, I'm using a dash or a hyphen, right? So that's my group name or the code for non-Rotarians. Okay, so I've got Rotarians and non-Rotarians. We're going to revisit this. You will see this later on. I hope some of this is making sense. It will make a lot more sense in a holistic view once we actually see the whole event. I'm going to move on to the next section, okay? Before I do that, I just want to talk about the help section. You can actually choose, you can actually provide a little help text to all your users. I'm going to do that really quickly. Please choose whether you are a Rotarian or non-Rotarian, okay? And go click save. This is help text. You're going to see where this lands on the registration pages as we move through the process. I'm going to click save. Okay, so there's my help text. Let's move on to the next section in Form Designer, which is time ranges. So what a time range is you can say there's certain specific types of pricing within certain specific dates. Another way, I've heard a lot of people say early bird pricing. We're actually going to use that as an example today. So early bird pricing means that if you register early, you get a little discounted price. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to click here on add new milestone. Okay, right now, by default, all of these options, pretty much most of them, I should say, they're turned off by default. There is no special attendee groups. There's no special milestones. So let's click on add new milestone. Let's see if we can do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little calendar right here. All right, and sorry, my calendar is a little finicky today. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to start early bird pricing today. Okay, and then I'm going to click save. Okay. Oh, sorry, my mistake. This is the end of the time range. Sorry, I blanked for a second there. Okay, so my time range. Let's get this to. Let's do Sunday, July 25th. Okay. So, and let me just explain what that means, okay? So I have pricing before July 25th and after July 25th. Now, I actually did this wrong. So let me pause for a second and explain to you that what I did wrong was I chose today's date. I can't make that a timeline or a milestone because today's date will basically pass very quickly. So what you do is you find a day kind of in the midpoint, and that will be the point where your early bird pricing ends. So after July 25th, early bird pricing will end. Okay, and that's kind of what's happening here is there's a price before July 24th and there's a price after July 25th. Okay, and then of course the form is disabled on July 31st. All right, so what I'm going to do once again, this is going to come into play as we move forward. So let me scroll down. Let's keep going on. Okay. So we talked about time ranges. I want to talk about promo codes. So let's click on promo codes. So a promo code is a way for you to essentially give someone a discount. Think of it as a virtual coupon. I need to create a promo code, and I'll tell you why. Because my club president, she said to me, "Listen, the DG, we're really lucky. She's coming to our gala dinner. Please make sure the DG registers. So she needs to go through. We need to save a registration, but don't let the DG pay. The club will cover the DG's costs." So here's how we're going to do that. I've come to manage promo codes. I'm going to click here on add new promo code. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. So what is the name of this code? What are we going to call this? We're going to call this DG code. Okay, so the district governor will get in this case, she'll get her own code. Okay. And here's the next thing is code. Here's what the code is. It's 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Now, the code can be anything you want. You know, the code can be a name. The code can be, you know, something, whatever you want. So you know what? Let's make the code simple. We're just going to call it DG-code. Okay. And I'm actually going to put dash 100, and you're going to see why I put 100. Okay. So this is the special code. This is just the name of the code, but this is what you can actually email to the DG and say, listen, when you go ahead and register, you know, Mrs. DG, and when you register, make sure to input this code. And guess what will happen is we're going to give a percentage discount. Okay, and the percentage discount is 100%. So the DG can register, you know, do all the options, choose whatever they like. They get 100% discount on the registrations at the end of the registration screens. Okay, now I'm not going to put in a start and end date. Okay, so this DG code can be used at any point. It does early bird pricing, like the DG is probably busy. They just go in and they can use it whenever they want. Okay, so I'm not going to do a start and end date. Unlimited. What do I mean by unlimited? If it's unlimited, 100 people or 50 people or 1,000 people, they could type in DG-code-100. So we also don't want that. We want one code to be available. We want the DG to use it. And as soon as the district governor uses the code is done. It's no longer valid for anybody else as soon as the DG uses it. I'm going to click save. Okay. So here's what you do. Now you've got this code, right? You take this code, DG, it has to be hyphen, it has to be code, there's no spaces or anything like that. You email it to the DG and say, listen, when you register, there'll be a place for you to input a code. Please input this code. And we're going to see where this DG code comes into play. Okay. Give me a second. Let's see if just in case I forget the DG code, I'll make a note of it right here. Okay. So let's move on. That was promo codes. Let's get into packages. And I am looking at my clock, and I half apologize. We're a little behind schedule, and we may go over time today. One of the things I kind of forgot to mention, there's actually two really good things that I forgot to mention actually, is first of all, this webinar is being recorded. So if we go over time and you have to leave, this will be recorded. You'll be able to view this at a later time. The second thing is there's a Q&A button. So please do, if you have any questions, please do click the Q&A button. Zach will be answering your questions live. He's probably already doing so, okay? So like I said, there's a chance we'll go over time today. I only half apologize for that because this is all really important stuff and I wanna make sure we cover it, okay? So let me keep going. I'm going to scroll down. In the form designer section, we just talked about promo codes. Now let's talk about packages. Packages are essentially one of the main items in My Event Runner. Think of them as the primary thing that a person will purchase, right? In our case, the gala dinner, well, they need to purchase dinner tickets, right? They have to, I'm bringing myself, I'm bringing my wife, both of us need tickets. You might be selling something else. Think of the package as one of the main things you're selling. So let's create a package, okay? I'm gonna click here on add new package, okay? And we'll just create a package. So the package name is dinner, okay? And actually, you know what? Let's make it slightly more complex, okay? There is a, let's call it a meat, or actually we'll just call this dinner. And then I'm actually going to show you that there's a way to actually make a vegetarian option or whatever you'd like. So this is actually, let's call this standard dinner, okay? All right, so includes option, option for chicken or steak dinner, okay? All right. So this is going to be our meat option, right? Someone will choose chicken or steak or whatever they'd like, okay? And then, like I said, we're not going to talk about tax today, so I'm going to skip that. So I want to talk about max registration allowed. Okay. Does let's say we're renting a hall, and the banquet hall holds, let's say it holds 200 people or 300 people, something like that. So you won't have infinite space. How many people are allowed to register? What is the max registration allowed? Okay, so you know what? I'm going to sell, let's just say I'm going to sell 300 max. Okay, so I don't want someone to come in and, basically after 300 of these are sold, the package locks itself. In other words, 300 packages have been sold, right? 300 dinners and all that. So I don't want to sell anymore. I can come back in and I can always make this number higher, because maybe the hall says, you know what, this is a really popular event. We're going to open up more space. We're going to allow 100 more seats or chairs or whatever. So I'm going to just make this 300. So we have a number here. And once again, that package code, remember the code is really useful, especially in those SAGE reports. So I'm going to put dinner option 1, okay? And the code can be anything you'd like, right? The dinner could be like dinner-meat, right? And I'm just going to put option 1, okay? And then how many people are covered by this dinner? 2. So husband and wife are covered by this dinner. Let me do that. Did that a little too fast. So the number of people covered, what that means is, do you want to cover 1 person or do you want to cover 2? I want to cover 2 because, like I said, husbands might be bringing their wives and vice versa. So I'm going to make this 2, okay, for number of people. And now, do you remember the attendee groups we did? We did Rotarians and non-Rotarians. So now let me scroll down here, okay? This is where it comes into play. So we also did early bird pricing, and you might have been wondering, how does all this kind of take effect? This is how it takes effect. We now have some really nice pricing groupings or categories. We have pricing for Rotarians, which is one of our attendee groups. We have pricing for non-Rotarians, the second type of attendee group. We have early bird pricing before July 24th and then after. So let's put this in, okay? A Rotarian, if they do it early bird, if they do it before July 24th, they're going to pay $40, okay? And after July 25th, they're going to pay $50. The price is arbitrary. The price will be whatever it is, okay? And then for non-Rotarians, they're going to pay just slightly more. So it'll be $50 and then $60, let's just say, okay? You can put in whatever pricing you want. But as you can see, that the pricing kind of goes up a little bit, because of our pricing model here. All right, once again, we have, before I click save, I want to talk very briefly about the help info. So, please choose meat or a vegetarian option, meal option, okay? So you may have gluten-free, you may have diabetic, whatever. I'm just going to do, like I said, we're going to create 2 packages. One is meat, one is vegetarian. Okay, and I'm going to put that in the help text right here. I'm going to click, actually, I'll click save here because I need to click this, and I'll click save here. Okay, so we're halfway through our packages. I want to click here on add new package. So here's what happened. There's my standard dinner. Okay, and it covers 2 people, and let's create a vegetarian dinner. So that's going to be my next thing. I clicked on add new package, and I call this vegetarian dinner. Okay, and let's just, I'm just going to kind of move through this. So tax, I'm going to ignore. Once again, 300. Now, this is interesting. I said that we have, let's say, 300 chairs available right now at the banquet hall, and there might be an option to get more, like 400. But if I have 300 here, and then I have 300 here, that's already 600. So guess what? I made a mistake in the math. Let's do 150, okay? And then I'm going to need to change this to 150. And in fact, I have it wrong still, because remember, this can cover 2 people, right? So I want to take a second on this. Remember, the numbers are important. You don't want to sell out more tickets than your room can handle. So if your room can handle 300 people, and this covers 2 people, and you have 2 options, this should be 75, and then this should be 75. Because remember, 75 times 2 people covered will give you 150 tickets, okay? For this, I'll make it 75. The package code will be veg dinner, okay? And the number of people covered will be 2, Okay, and then the same thing here. You know what? I'm not going to mess around with the prices. It's going to be the same. So it's going to be 50 here, 60 here. Okay, and I'm going to click save. All right, so there's my packages. Um, uh, I have a standard dinner, and then I have a vegetarian dinner. Okay, um, so these are the two options that that I can that I'm selling at this dinner gala. Okay, so here's how packages work. You choose either or, right? So you know what? You choose either standard dinner or veg. Now, husband and wife, let's say the wife or husband or whatever is vegetarian. So one person's going to get the standard and one person's getting the veg. You can't do it just with these packages because with packages, it's either or. So first of all, I have to go back, I have to change this number because I made a mistake. So I'm going to click here, okay? And I'm going to go, excuse me. All right, so I'm going to go make this 75, okay? And then let me scroll down, let me click save, okay? So the maximum, the quantity left, okay? Um, so let me scroll down a little bit. And we need to kind of to cover this this discrepancy here. Well, what about, you know, husband is veg and wife is non-veg? So we'll come back to that. Let's put a pin in that because I'm, like I said, I'm looking at the clock and I can already see I'm going over time, but we're going to keep moving forward. Okay. So that in a nutshell, that's packages. That's what the main thing that people choose. Let me scroll down. Let's move on to add-ons. Okay. So if a package is the main thing that someone's going to buy, think of an add-on as something you add on. It's an extra. You could, for example, sell T-shirts. You can sell mugs. A lot of clubs, they sell raffle tickets, right? You come to the dinner, you're going to buy 20 raffle tickets for $20 or whatever the price. So that's where add-ons come into play. That's what an add-on is it something additional on top of your packages. So let's add an add-on. I'm going to click here on Add New Add-on. I'm going to scroll down. Okay. And you know what we're selling? I'm going to sell raffle tickets. Okay. And we're going to sell, they come in in a roll of 5. Okay. So you get a roll of 5 tickets, right? And then the code is going to be raffle tickets. Okay. And then I'm going to ignore tax. So the max registration allowed. How many total raffle tickets do I have? I have 1,000 raffle tickets in total. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. I have 100 raffle. I have 100 of these in total, 100 rolls of 5. That's actually 500. Okay. So what I'm saying is, how many of these do I have in total? So I have 100 of these kind of books of 5 in total. And then quantity limit per person. What am I allowing every person to buy? Do I want someone to just come in and buy 100 of these? No. The most people can buy is, let's just say 4. So in other words, I can buy up to 20 total tickets, right? 4 times 5. All right, sorry to do a little bit of math there, but you know, this is actually really important because you need to do some math when you do this registration stuff. Okay, so so there is my, what I'm doing is I'm setting limits on how many of these add-ons can be purchased at once. I don't want someone come in here and just wipe out all the raffle tickets, buy them all for themselves, okay? So I'm gonna scroll down. What is the price for Rotarians and non-Rotarians? I don't want, this is raffle tickets. You know what? It's $5 all the way. I want to give, let's just do this, okay? Because I just want you to see that you can also make the pricing exactly the same. For these raffle tickets, I just want people to buy them. They don't, you know, don't have to worry about early bird or non-Rotarian pricing. I'm going to click save, okay? So there's my raffle tickets. It's a roll of 5 tickets, right? It's $5 each. So I'm going to scroll down, okay? So in a nutshell, that's what an add-on is. Now I'm sorry to do this, but I'm a little behind, so I'm just gonna keep going. But we're gonna actually see this event, you know, register for this event, so you'll be able to see how this all works. I'm gonna scroll down. After add-ons is questionnaire. So let me click on questionnaire. A questionnaire is the advanced questionnaire designer. So what I mean by that is we have something called the standard questionnaire. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to show you right here the standard questionnaire. Maybe it's easier if I show you this first. I'm going to click on standard questionnaire. The standard questionnaire is exactly what it sounds like. It's everybody has to answer these questions. What is your first name? What is your email? What is your club name? If you have a club name, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So what you can do in the standard questionnaire, because everybody has to answer these questions, you can uncheck or turn off questions. Badge name, don't want to even go there. So I'm going to turn that off. Club name, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to turn that off because like I said, I'm opening this to non-Rotarians. It doesn't matter, you know, if you give me the club name or not. Preferred phone, you know what? No, I don't want their phone numbers. So I'm going to turn off their phone numbers. You can, of course, turn this on. And then, you know what? It's okay. I don't need their address either. So I'm going to turn off the address. Okay. So what I'm essentially doing is I'm reducing the amount of questions a registrant has to answer. So you can see I'm turning off some of these. Definitely don't care about country or state and province. By the way, some of these may be important to some of you. So you, especially if it's like one of those districts that kind of hovers on the border between US and Canada, right? So, okay. So what I'm doing is I'm asking for their first and last name and email. You'll see the letter R beside first, last, and email. These are required. We have to get their first, last name, and email address in order to be able to get registration information. Now I've turned everything else off, so this hopefully makes the standard questionnaire easier. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. So we talked about standard questionnaire first, but we didn't actually really talk about questionnaire. So I'm going to click on questionnaire. Okay, and so this is where you can create additional special questions. And I actually have one right off the bat. Okay, so I'm going to click here on add question. Let's add a question to the non-standard questionnaire or the enhanced questionnaire. So let's create a question. The type of the question is short text. Now we have all these different options. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to choose short text so we can create a question because I want to talk about some other topics before I hand it over to Zach. Okay, so is this question required? No, it's up to people whether they want to answer this or not. My question is, do you have any food or special allergies? And you can phrase this any way you'd like. Okay, so I'm going to click save. Okay. And there's my question. Now we can create more questions. Okay. But I'm going to stop it there, but you kind of get what this does. This allows you to create extra questions. There's one thing, and I know I'm kind of going a little bit over time, but there's one thing that I realized when I was doing my practice run that I really want to cover, and I'm going to cover it, and I'm sorry if I go over time, but I hope this is going to be worth it. I'm going to click on add-ons. Okay, so we talked about questionnaire and standard questionnaire. We're going to get to payment in a second. I want to go to add-ons. Okay, so there's something special that you can do with an add-on that I didn't really talk about that I want to take a minute to explain. We get a lot of questions from people. Listen, our club or our district or whatever, they're paying credit card registration fees. If you sign up with Sage or Bambora or what have you, these services are not free. You'll be paying sometimes a monthly cost, sometimes pretty much always a per transaction cost. This all gets billed to the club, right? So is there a way for the registrant to pay this for the club? So the short answer is not really. Here's the longer answer. I'm going to click here on add new add-on. Okay. And I'm going to name this credit card fee. Okay. Or I should call it the club credit card fee. And then please, so the description is really important here. So please consider paying the club's credit card fee. By choosing this, you will be able to cover our club's credit card costs. I'm sorry to spend time on this, but I hope this will be useful to some clubs, and I really didn't want to move on without getting to this. So here's essentially what I'm saying. This is a way for the person registering to help you, the club or district, pay for the credit card registration fees. It's going to be 100% optional. The registrants can just ignore it and move on, but you're going to give them the option. Okay, so let me scroll down. Okay, and the fee will be CC-fee because it's my credit card fee, the skipping and tax. Max registration allowed. I only just one. Okay. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Let's do 100 again. Actually, I'm going to leave this blank, right? I actually don't want to mess with the max registration. It's the quantity limit per person, right? So the quantity limit is 1. Okay. So here's what I mean by that. People will just choose to type the number 1, and then they'll be paying for the credit card fees. Okay. So the credit card fee cost. What do you want to call it? Don't make it a high number. Don't make it like $50 or something. I mean, you can if you want, but think of this as a donation as they register. They're donating a little bit of money to cover the club or district's credit card fees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it $5. Okay, so $5 all around. Now you can make it $10, you can make it 20. Like I said, you might not want to go as high as 50. So what is this $5 for? The registrant, the person registering gets nothing. But what they're doing is they're contributing to your a little bit of extra money, in this case $5, to your club to cover your fees, your credit card registration fees. I'm going to click save. And I'm sorry, I'm sure I kind of, and then there's my, there's my other add-on. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. I want to click on payment. Okay, and what I want to do is I just want to kind of cover a few more things because I definitely want to make sure we give some time to Zach. So Sage Payment Solutions, right? When I scrolled down and I clicked here on payment, this takes me to the payment designer page. What is my online credit card option? You have to have some form of online credit card option. For me, that's Sage, because like I said, I'm going to make it a US. We're going to make it simple. I am going to have pay by check, right? I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click save. All right. So now my payment option is saved. Okay. So let's go back. And I'm going to go back to setup because there's still a few more sections that I have to go over. I'm going to see how much I can go over, but like I said, I guess I do kind of apologize for going over time here, but I want to make sure we covered this stuff in detail. Okay, so I'm back on the setup screen, right? If you remember, this is what we started off with, our event name, such and such. So I'm going to scroll down. Okay, I'm going to move past all this. I'm still not going to turn this on, show on events list. I'm not quite done because I myself have not had a chance to test this event. I want to see what this event looks like. We were in the setup screens here. We don't actually know what this looks like to an average user. So let me scroll down and I'm going to click here on publish event. Okay, so if the event is not published, you cannot, or anyone cannot really register for this event. So let me publish this event because I've gone through most of the main primary setup. So I'm going to click on publish event and it says, are you sure you want to do that? Because when you publish the event, it goes live. Now here's the thing, I haven't chosen yet show on website, show on calendar, so it's invisible, which is exactly the way I want it because I want to test it first. So I'm going to click OK. It's going to take a second. It's going to publish the event. It's essentially now live. Let me show you. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the setup screen again. Okay, so now I did the publish. I'm going to click here on this long crsadmin.com link and see what happens. This is what a regular person, registrant, whatever you want to call them, will see. This is the MyEventRunner event, okay? And I'm going to run through this, and I want to cover a few more things, and I'm so sorry, Zach, to go over this kind of time, but so this is our event, okay? And you can see how the help text looks. It comes up in yellow boxes, okay? Because you have to choose, are you a Rotarian or a non-Rotarian? In my case, I'll be a Rotarian. Now, this is 100% optional. If you logged in, you can actually sign in and it would fill out all this information for you. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to show you that you don't need, I shouldn't have put anything in there. You don't need to actually do that. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's just put myself in, and then, you know what, it's my spouse's imaginary name. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to fill in some information here. Okay. And then I've received consent from myself and from my wife to register for this event. I've chosen myself as a Rotarian. I'm going to click on select options. Okay. And so now you can see this is kind of the where you choose what you want. Okay, so the standard dinner, it includes an option for chicken or steak. So I can choose either the veg option, I'm sorry, the meat option or the veg option. Okay. And then so you know what? I'm okay with chicken. I'd actually love a chicken dinner. So I'm going to choose for myself and for Michelle, my imaginary wife. Okay. Now, and you can see the price is actually a little low. I actually probably should have done $80, but remember, this is still early bird pricing. So I'm still here in the $40 price bracket. I could be in the $50 after July 25th, after the early bird pricing is done. So that's how you choose your packages, okay? And then optional add-ons. So raffle tickets, you know what? Yeah, actually Michelle loves raffle tickets. So she's gonna buy 89 raffle tickets. And you can see it says, wait a second, I'm sorry, you can't do that. The maximum you're allowed to buy is 4. So I'm going to click OK. And it's like, you know what? Okay, Michelle, yeah, we'll just give her 2. That's fine, right? That still gives her $10 of raffle tickets. And you can see this. Like I said, I want to spend just a second on this. Please consider paying the club's credit card fee. Now, I spent, maybe 10 seconds on this message. You can make your messaging stronger or whatever. But essentially, if Michelle and I do this, right, this $10, it gives Michelle and I, my spouse and I, nothing. But what it does is it covers the credit card fee for you, the club or the district or what have you. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And you'll find a lot of registrants are absolutely willing to help contribute to your credit card fees. So I'm going to click on answer questions because I'm going to move on. This is the questionnaire section. Do you have any food or specific allergies? No. And Michelle is, I don't know, she's gluten-free or something, right? It doesn't matter. If I input nothing, right, it's okay. I'm actually not going to input anything for myself. I did not make this required. Now I'm going to click on continue to payment selection. Okay. And this is where I'm going to pay for what I chose. Okay. And this is not complete until you choose to pay for what you did. Now remember the nice promo code. We'll get to that in a second. But first, let's just kind of look at this screen. Okay, so I chose $60 worth of options, right? I chose my tickets and some add-ons and all that. Now, what did I exactly choose? Let me scroll down and it actually tells you, gives you a breakdown. Here's the 2 people. Here's what everybody chose. My breakdown of the $60, why they're charging me $60. So you can actually see what's going on. Now, I can choose to pay by check, in which case the registration will save and I owe this club $60. So I'll have to mail someone a check or maybe even I'll bring the check to the gala dinner. Or I can choose to pay by credit card, okay? So if I choose to pay by credit card, I can actually click this screen. It will take me to the credit card info screen. I can input all my credit card information. Now, I've already forgotten the code, and that's why I wanted to make sure I have it. Let's just imagine I'm the district governor, okay? So remember, you emailed the district governor the code. So I'm going to highlight. I'm going to put this code, and I'm going to apply. So my charge is $60. So as soon as I apply the code, right? Let's just make sure my charge is $0. My options are all the same. I'm coming with my wife and I'm buying this and raffle tickets and so forth, but I'm the DG. I applied the code. Guess what? That code is now used up. No one else can use the code. I owe $0, right? So I'm just gonna pay by check here, right? All right, are you sure you wanna pay by check? Sure, it's $0. I'll give you a $0 check. And it has now saved my registration. Okay, now it's already 4. Oh my gosh, like I said, I'm slightly sorry to go a little over, but this stuff is really important, and I didn't want to rush through any of this because this is really integral to how these events work. So I've clicked save. I clicked pay by check. I'm the DG, so I didn't actually pay anything. So a couple things happened. Okay, I gave my email address at the beginning of the registration process. A receipt has automatically been emailed to me. This information has been emailed to mickey@test.com. So I receive a confirmation email. Okay. Let me close this browser tab. Okay, I'm going to close it. I'm going to go back here and I'll just to prove to you that the registration is saved, I'm going to click here on view registrations. Okay. And you can see there's me, there's my wife, and that's how much I paid. Now, I use a special code in this case. I was cheating a little bit, but normally this would be the registration would be $60. Okay, so the last thing, oh gosh, I'm really sorry, Zach. The last thing I want to talk about is just a few things that I didn't get a chance.
You're good, Mickey. Take your time.
Thank you. I'm going to go, let's just go over the registration sections, and I will be doing this a little bit quicker, but still, like I said, I'm over my time. I apologize about that. So the registration sections lets you see all the registrations. If I click here on view registrations, it's basically everybody. I can pull a master or a full registration report. At some point, your club event might have 60, 70, 100 registrations. They will all be listed here by name and by their registration number, right? So you can actually come here and control and edit your registrations. If I click here on view attendees, this is slightly different, right? This is basically a list of who's coming. Now I have one registration, but I have 2 attendees. So that's the difference between view registrations and view attendees, okay? If I click on view payments, I can actually see who's paid. Nobody's paid. I entered the DG code. I got my little cheat code. I didn't pay a dime. So the payment screen is blank. But if I had paid with credit card, it would say, Mickey is paid with credit card. Prepare name tags. I'm sorry, I want to click on it, but I'm going to skip over. Well, I'll go over it really fast. You can create name tags in MyEventRunner. That's as far as I'm going to go because, like I said, I really blew my time today. All right, I want to talk very quickly about communication and email service. So if I click here, what you can do is now one person has registered. If I click compose new message, I can send follow-up emails to my attendees, okay? And I'm sorry, I know I'm moving a little faster now, and I apologize about that. I'm gonna try and keep things slow, but like I said, I really blew my time today. So I'm gonna click at the plus sign beside attendees. Here's all attendees I'm gonna show, okay? I can choose, because remember, myself and my wife, we gave our email addresses. Well, guess what? I can send an email to both of them, okay? So I'm gonna select all right? So I'm going to send an email to 2 people, and it's just going to be thank you, follow up, anything you'd like. Thank you for registering. You know what? I'll just keep it simple. So thank you. So you can send a follow up email to all the people who registered, right? So in fact, here's something. You can send a follow up to the people who didn't pay, which are going to be the people who paid by check. So just as a quick example, instead of choosing all attendees, you can choose your unpaid attendees. Right now you have 0. And you can say, just a reminder, here is the information to put on the check. Feel free to bring the check to the dinner. We look forward to seeing you on the night, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to scroll down. Okay, I'm actually just going to click go back. Okay. And I want to talk a little bit about the reports, and then I promise I'll be done. But the report section, there's various reports in MER. Okay, and click on confirmation report. Okay, so basically you can break down the stats of your registrants. Who has confirmed, who has paid, who has not paid, who's confirmed their registration, how many people are coming. I'm kind of going to do a glossy kind of broad overview of the reports. Okay, so this is the confirmation report. It just kind of shows who purchased what. If I clicked on confirmed registration, okay, who has confirmed their registration, what have they purchased. As you can see, the really cool thing is 2 people already paid my club credit card fee, so I'm ahead by $10. This is a contribution to the club, so I feel really great about that. That's awesome. Technically, as the DG didn't pay, but that's okay. And then by questionnaire. So what you can do, that advanced, not the standard, but the advanced questionnaire, you can run a query. So I clicked on reports, and then by questionnaire, I'm going to check this box, okay? And then I'm going to click generate, okay? So I can actually see the response to my questionnaire, right? So I answered nothing, but my wife answered that she's got a gluten allergy. And then you can actually categorize or run a report and see the results of all the questions that you answered. And then the final thing is by comments. We didn't really get into comments, so I'm actually probably just going to skip that. I'm going to go back to setup. Now, I'm going to stop it there. I really do apologize. Oh my gosh, but you know what? I'm going to hand it over to Zach. I want to thank you all for staying this long. We're going to keep going with Q&A. If you'd like, please do continue to ask any more questions in the Q&A, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to hand it over to Zach. All right. Thank you, Zach.
All right, let me make sure I've unmuted myself and start my video up. Thank you guys so much for being patient. You guys had a fantastic number of questions. I'm gonna get to those in just a minute. I'm gonna cover both some of the ones that have already been answered and some of the open ones we still have pending. But I wanted to start with all of our really important stuff. So first and foremost, again, thank you everybody here for your time today. The things I want to call out real quick before I dive into some of the Q&A is just some ways to access our support resources and information. So you guys can see here I'm logged into the same club that Mickey has been logged into, and there's this big giant need help box in the center. Any site administrators, executives, and editors will have access to this box. Upcoming webinars and also our webinar changeover series that's continuing. But probably the most important link here is the access to knowledge base. Clicking on this access knowledge base will send you right over to the Club Runner support website where you guys can find a lot of the answers to some of the questions that you've been asking, and also just general news and ongoing about Club Runner. For example, very specific to MyEventRunner, not only do we have a section that helps for some of the direct how do you do questions, we have an entire MyEventRunner manual that goes over almost all of the same information that Mickey was covering here today, and some of the questions that I'll be helping to answer in a few minutes here. We're going to be continuing to build out and updating this manual. It is a live living document, and it really covers pretty much everything that you would deal with in setting up your event. Covers all of our packages, add-ons, headers, questionnaires, all of the help text information, all of that good stuff that you guys may have questions on. So definitely check our manual for any starting MyEventRunner questions. And the last thing on the support website that I will just touch on is we also have a lot of video guides. And while this webinar will be available later at a later date, if you ever need a good webinar, we definitely have MyEventRunner webinars, and it should be here somewhere. There it is, MyEventRunner webinar with Sean. So if you guys ever need a reference point, or you really want to see some, Mickey did his take today. Sean had a 44-minute crash course. Definitely check that out. So now that I've bored you with all this support article information, let's jump right back into those important MyEventRunner questionnaires. So as we started to get towards the end, there were a couple good questions that would have been very complicated to type up for me. So I wanted to address some of that feedback live. One of the items that came up from Charles W. He mentions that not all packages are appropriate for all of his attendee groups, and it'd be really nice to be able to enable and disable package on groups. And he also knows that that feature is not available currently, but I can confirm for everybody that is definitely something we're looking into for future updates to MyEventRunner or whatever will replace MyEventRunner. So I expect that you guys will see more of that in the future. Let's see. Shauna S. had a great question about registering large groups of people. So in their specific circumstances, they're working with Youth Exchange, which for their specific event, they have a Youth Exchange chair and they're bringing 6 students with them to the conference. With the dual registration limit, they have to complete that 6 times. Now, Shauna, for your very specific circumstance, if you know that every single person in your group will be registering themselves plus 10 additional people, and no conflicts, no questions asked, they're always going to be registering at least those 10 people. Instead of using a dual registration option, I would probably fall back to relying on either the questionnaire or the standard questionnaire, depending on the type of event that you have, to collect all that additional information. So instead of having the individual package set up, so in that case, we're still looking at Mickey's event here. I would create a single package. I would actually disable that dual registration option, and I would suggest collecting all that additional information of all your attendees. So if you need to know like the students' names and other information as part of either the standard questionnaire or the secondary questionnaire, which is available for pro registrations. So very specifically, if we're talking about a pro event and we want to capture that information on the third screen, which is where this event questionnaire shows up, I would start adding questions. So I would probably select short text for that. I would probably set it as required as well, just because you specifically mentioned that they're always going to have these 10 students with them. So student 1 first name, and then if it, or you can just collect student 1 name, but I would repeat that for each one of the details that you need to collect about your students and iterate through all of that. So if they're always going to be 10 people, 1 package or 1 add-on, depending on your needs, and then collect all that additional information through the secondary questionnaire or the standard questionnaire. And I think that will really help cut down on your registration limits. If you have any other questions about that, I will absolutely reach out to you. That way we can continue this discussion and make sure that you got that. John B had asked, is there a limit to the number of add-ons? Realistically, no, but I can tell you that the system starts to get a little, candidly, there's no practical limit. There does become a reasonable system limit though. It probably ends up being above 20 add-ons. I've definitely seen more than that, but it starts to kind of become overwhelming for guests even just to navigate through all of those add-ons and get the right questions that they're looking for. So if you had an event with that many things, I would definitely consider trying to split it up to cater to specific audiences. I think usually when I see an event like that, it's usually something like a golf registration, and not only are they trying to collect their golfers' information, they're trying to collect the sponsor information in the same form. And in that kind of case, I would definitely recommend 2 distinct registrations or multiple MyEventRunner events to handle those individual registrations. And John, I'll also reach out to you just in case you have any other questions on that front that you weren't able to ask here. John actually has a couple more good questions that I want to answer. John also asked, suppose someone wants to be able to purchase an entire table of 10 tickets. Is there a way to do that? The straightforward answer is yes. You could either set up a package that collects that is intended to collect 10 registrations worth of information. You'd be able to collect additional information through your questionnaire or standard questionnaire. But the primary downside would be that everyone will see those questions. There's always workarounds for that or being more specific with that, but we definitely have clubs and organizations selling, hey, I want a single dinner package. I want a dinner package for my spouse, me and my spouse, and we have a table of 10 registration. There's definitely ways to handle that, and both clubs and districts using Club Runner have done that before. All right, so I want to look over some of our other options some of our other questions that we had asked earlier. Dan York mentioned, or sorry, Dan Y, not Dan. Anyway, Dan mentioned that when he goes into MyEventRunner, he sees that he's only allowed to create 0 events a year. If for any reason you guys come into MyEventRunner and you do not see this 100 events per year, if it's 0 or 1, that most likely means that you don't have an active MyEventRunner package. And in that circumstance, you can absolutely reach out to us and we'll help you move forward with that. I just want to mention that while the standard availability of MyEventRunner does become available once you have subscribed or used one of our partner merchant services, if your organization doesn't have any direct need to collect money, let's say you have an absolutely free event, you need absolutely no online payment confirmation, we can enable MyEventRunner for your guys' accounts. The only limitation for it will be, it has to be a pro event, because right now pro events are the only events that can take registrations without payments. So just keep that in mind. If you guys ever do need complex event registration and categorization that Event Planner isn't capable of offering, you can definitely take advantage of MyEventRunner Pro. Just reach out to our team and we will be happy to assist you and outline all of those options. Shauna had another good question about the promo codes. So for their question was, will we have to use new codes, or will we have to create other codes for each event? And the straight answer to this is that each MyEventRunner event is its own set of configuration, and everything related to it is stored there. So a promo code that we set up for the Rotary Gala dinner won't be eligible to be used for the summer barbecue. It's all part of the Rotary Gala dinner. But if we wanted to make that promo code available in any of our other events, there would be absolutely no restrictions from doing that, with the exception of having to use the MyEventRunner Pro. Kari B had asked, is the max registration allowed the maximum for the entire event, or only the number of people that can sign up for that particular package? And that really, so for that question, that'll really depend on how your event is set up. If your event only has a single package and all of the registrations for that package have been exhausted, then yes, as soon as that package runs out of registration, so if we ran out of the 73 here and the 75, if we ran out of the standard dinner and it was 0, people would only be able to then register for this vegetarian dinner. If all of the packages are exhausted, then no one will be able to continue or complete any additional registrations. There was a related question, and I don't know where it has gone off to in my Q&A box here, but it was related to what happens if you want someone who isn't going to register for the dinner, but still wants to purchase one of those add-ons. And typically for MyEventRunner Pro events, we would strongly suggest adding another package. So in this case, I can add a new package here and say, donation. In this context, let's say donation only. So they don't want to attend the Gala event. They only want to purchase the donation, or they only want to purchase donations and raffle tickets only. What we're going to do for this individual package is we're going to set it up with no cost, which allows members to, which when we go through the registration process will allow them to select this option, but not, they'll select this option. There won't be a cost, but to complete their registration, they would definitely have to select some add-ons. So please choose your add-ons below. I'm not going to set any prices. I am going to make sure that they're all enabled here. So if we go back to the setup, so we can get to our registration screens, I'm going to go ahead and open this in a private window. And one of the reasons I'm opening this up in a private window is to make sure that I don't pull over any of my administrative sessions. And this is actually a really great tip. So I'm going to open this in a new tab as well really quickly here. If you guys are ever working in the MyEventRunner registration system and you see this box up at the top, this absolutely confirms for you that you have an administrative session. And as an extra bonus hint, administrators are not artificially restricted from registering after the event has ended, which is a question that we actually do get a lot of. So I really wanted to touch on that. Occasionally we'll get an email saying, help, our event is still live. Administrators with an administrative session bypass all of the event features because they still need to be able to manage the event, register members, and edit their registration. So even if this event was closed for registration, as an administrator, I can see it. So continuing in our private session here where there isn't any additional information, I'm going to go ahead and type John Smith. I do consent to the storage, and I am a Rotarian in this context. I am not bringing my partner with you. So I'm going to, or partner with me rather. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the select options here. Oh, my email. Actually, that will work. That's these sync.sendgrid.net account emails. If you guys ever see this, these are our test accounts. They allow us to get email statistics back, but they don't actually function for anything more than statistics. So now that I have selected, I've filled in my information, you can see that I actually can't select these. And the reason why is because these packages only cover 2 people. So in this case, I actually can't select those options because I am registering by myself. So I will choose my donations and raffle tickets only. I am going to choose the 4 raffle tickets. So I'm going to get 20, and I will also be generous and pay the credit card fee for the club. There was a question earlier also about asking, hey, if I wanted to collect donations in addition to the event registration, what you would do is add an add-on and collect that information there. So I've chosen my package, I've chosen my add-ons. I can go and continue to answer my questions. Here we can see the bad question that I asked about one student's name. So I'm just going to put name in there because it is required. I will not be able to proceed with this registration unless I answer this question, which will continue me over to the payment section. And from here, because it's a pro event, I can either pay online via credit card, or I can choose to pay later by check, or whatever specific instructions were added here. I can tell you guys that we definitely have clubs in Canada using e-transfer services, and they'll leave all of the e-transfer information here to get that set up. So I'm going to choose pay by check just so I can complete this registration and save it. And we can now see that my registration is saved. And if I still wanted to pay by credit card, if I wanted to change it, I can. And even if I tried to use that promo code that Mickey had used earlier, I don't remember the specifics of it. I think it was DG-code-100. And I try to hit apply here. It actually won't let me go through. Actually, it won't let me go through because I've already saved my registration. But if I had used it prior to this, it would have told me that the promo code was unavailable. All right, I think that is the majority of them. And the one last thing I will just touch on is we had a great question about event cancellations. For any reason, should your club have an event cancellation and you've been using MyEventRunner Pro, you should definitely contact our team. We do bill based on the usage of MyEventRunner Pro, and we will not know if your event was canceled or not unless you reach out to us. So in those cases where there is some unforeseen consequence where you're not able to continue with the event and you're unable to use the MyEventRunner registration, definitely let us know. That way we can work with the club to come to a resolution on that. All right, I have one. Nope, I think that is the majority of the questions. So just to cover a couple last things real quickly here, to reiterate rather on a couple things real quickly here. Today, Mickey and I have presented. One of the things we really want to hammer in is how you use MyEventRunner and get the best out of the module. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about how to use MyEventRunner going forward, you can definitely go to clubrunnersupport.com, view the manuals, view the guides, and contact our team. You guys can also give us a call. We do have a new phone number. I'm hesitant to say it out loud right now because I feel like I'm going to mess it up, but it is 855-621-2582, and then option 2 for support, option 1 for our sales team, alternatively. Thank you all very much for your attendance today, and we hope to see you again soon.